Welcome, Minutes by Minute. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Dave Kinney.
And we're going to talk about what the various community entities that are making legislation out there are affecting you.
And these are the people that you elected, whether you're in the village or the township, or the people that they appointed. And they make decisions that directly affect you.
Yeah, there are laws and regulations, and there's some new ordinances coming down the line, and we're going to talk about those right now. Shall we?
Hold forth.
Okay. Fourth hold who? Okay. Oxford Township Board of Trustees had a meeting July 9th. And one of the issues that came up was solicitors. Did you ever get a solicitor at your door?
Oh my God. Where are the fuller brush salesmen when you need them?
Yeah. Well, anyway, Joe Ferrari was the one that brought this up. He said that he was at home one weekend, and these three people converged on his home, knocked on his door. They were driving a white van, unidentified, and he said it scared the daylights out of him. You know, this guy was supposedly selling vacuums.
Vacuums?
Vacuums, yeah.
Wow.
Vacuum cleaners, not as in vacuum tubes, you know, like.
Well, obviously Joe wasn't interested in their product.
Oh, no, Joe was pretty upset over it. As a matter of fact, he brought it up, you know, at the trustees meeting. He said, we have an ordinance which has been in place since 1978, and he said it prohibits peddlers, etc., that are trying to access a home, you know, in purpose of getting a fee, you know, from you, money. And but he said we need to reapproach that again because they had talked about stopping, you know, some of this activity going on within the township and the surrounding area, the village. And
does that include Girl Scouts with little cookies?
You know, if it's charity, then it doesn't cover it under the existing regulation.
So if it's a nonprofit,
it's a church,
if it's a nonprofit, then it's not.
Nonprofit. It's for profit, you know, that they want to stop.
Okay.
Well, anyway, so he informed these folks, you know, that they need to get a permit, you know, to do this, you know, in the township.
Of course, it also helps to have a little no solicitors on your door.
Well, here's the thing. The people took his information, of course, and then they immediately contacted their attorney, which is out of Rocky River, Ohio.
Which people are you talking about?
The vacuum cleaner people.
Oh, the vacuum cleaner
Yep.
people. Okay.
And apparently the product is actually produced here, I think, in Michigan, or at least their main office is. But, so anyway, so they then contacted the township, and this is where Joe really got into it, because he said, we have an ordinance. He said it has been there for a number of years, and it needs to be, you know, maybe it needs some tweaking to it, but it still maintains a certain precedence, you know, in our township.
Oh, sure.
With protection of, you know, our residents.
But at the time the ordinance was made, it was in compliance with state and local laws.
It was, and anything that they would come up with certainly would be too.
Right.
You know, he's saying that they, first of all, they need to establish a fee to cover the cost of the administrative process to handle this stuff. And in case they end up in a lawsuit for some reason, because everybody can file a frivolous lawsuit out there, you don't like somebody, you sue them.
So
you like somebody, you sue them too.
are you basically saying that people, these, say, vacuum people, for instance, would come in and apply for a vendor certificate of some kind?
They would. And with that, they would have to have identification to show the, you know, the homeowner. The township could deny for any reason, is a proposed idea that Joe had. Let me see, you don't
But
like.
it might be related to the type of product too.
Well, here's the thing. If for example, the township says, well, what kind of a vehicle are you using? Are you using a company vehicle with identification, or is it a plain white vehicle or a plain blue or whatever? And the guy says, well, we don't have identification on our vehicle. He can say, well, then you're denied, because you need to have identification.
That seems like a good restriction.
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, all of a sudden you get a black van pulls up and three guys jump out, come up to your house, knock on the door.
Could be the CIA.
They said, we're selling vacuums. By the way, we want your money.
Well, if it's accompanied by a black helicopter, you're in trouble.
Yeah, right. You got it. So anyway, so a clearly marked vehicle will certainly be something that is going to be required. And also hours restriction. Let me see. Knock, knock, knock. It's 2 a.m. What are you doing here? I'm selling vacuums. No, you're not. So anyway, so there's hours restriction.
Talk to the dog.
Yeah, talk to the dog, yeah. This, by the way, his name is Killer.
And he likes you.
And he's hungry. Okay. And also, Joe is saying that you should, if you have a sign, no solicitors, on your home or business, that needs to be concurred with. That if you then go into that business or that home and try to pressure sell somebody, it's a no-go. No-go. It's not going to work. So they cannot go into a home that has identification for no solicitation.
Maybe the township should have an official little tag that people could put on their doors.
They could do that.
Yeah.
You need to talk to them. Put that on your list.
Done.
Okay. Let me see. Solicitor must provide, badge and ID, everything. So that pretty much takes care of the solicitation thing. Bill Dunn said, okay, we'll discuss this more. We're willing to look at it more in detail and see exactly how the old ordinance can stand up against the new one. And
Is this a complaint that just popped up, or has this bubbled up in the past also?
I think it has in the past. I know I've received solicitors at my home. I'm sure. Well, you're in Brandon. They probably can't find you out there.
And you never complain.
I never do. No, I don't. But my wife, she does. No. Especially at 2 o'clock in the morning, the solicitors. They're kind of a problem.
I think they call those burglars.
Oh, is that what they are? Well, the guy claimed he was selling vacuums, but he had my vacuum. I guess he was selling vacuums.
Let me demonstrate how easy it is to open up your door. What?
Right. So anyway, it's a good subject, I think, that Joe Ferrari brought up, and he's kind of hot over this one. I can't blame him a bit.
Right.
He's got small children at home, and so do other residents out there. So they need to protect.
And when it happens to a member on the board like that, well, it gets visibility.
You got instant attention. This is what happened.
Right.
Okay, so that works. So folks out there, if you're not getting instant attention, all you got to do is run for office.
Or call Joe Ferrari.
Or call Joe Ferrari. Joe will make sure it happens, I think, at this point. Now, the second issue that they brought up was noxious weeds.
Weeds.
Needy weeds. You know what they are?
Noxious needs?
There's noxious, needy weeds. Yes, and they're nasty. I mean, they'll take over your home. And you know what? I'll tell you more right after this about those nasty, needy weeds. What do you think? Hello, I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Terry Stiles.
Together, Terry and I host the weekly news Monday through Friday at 12, 6, and 11 p.m.
Broadcast on Charter Channel 191 and AT&T Uverse 99, we only cover news that impacts our local Addison and Oxford area. In other words, by all accounts, news that would normally not receive from any other televised source.
But chances are, if it's local, it will be found on Oxford Community Television and OCTV.
For the weekly news, I'm Terry Stiles.
And I'm Elgin Nichols. Together, we invite you to join Terry and me for our next OCTV weekly news program. Welcome back to Minutes by Minute. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Dave Kenny.
And we're talking about nasty, needy weeds.
Pursue it.
Okay, this is the Board of Trustees meeting that we're talking about, and apparently there's weeds that are taking over the world, and so we want to be careful, especially in Oxford Township.
Are we talking alien weeds or just our own normal weeds that are getting out of control?
Well, I think they're super weeds. I think they start as itty bitty baby weeds and then get into be big weeds. That's
Do they have a name?
Yeah, noxious weeds.
Oh.
And anyway, there currently is no ordinance in the township.
Would the weeds obey anyhow?
Well, they will if you get nasty with them. You can take care of the nasty, needy weeds, by chopping them down. But there's a home, several homes, as a matter of fact, in subdivisions where people just don't maintain their lawns.
They call that going au naturel.
Well, the next door neighbors say it's down the tube with your real estate values.
That goes along with it, of course.
Right, and that discussion did come up, in that meeting. And there were some people who were for an ordinance to control this because they don't have one yet. There's Jack Curtis, Buck Kreiderman, Curtis Wright and Joe Ferrari were all for having this ordinance in
Right.
place.
And I know that in various subdivisions, if you move in, there's a whole set of regulations about that kind of thing. But that's kind of a contained kind of an environment. And you're really talking about establishing an ordinance for the entire community.
And you're talking about an association
Right.
ordinance of
Right.
of a type.
Right.
The only problem is with association ordinances, they're difficult to enforce unless they have teeth in them, you know, from the township. I mean, you
Right.
can pass any, you know, any type of control you want with an association, but trying to get people to concur with it, tough,
Without the force of law.
without the force of law behind it. So, and actually, Jack Curtis said, you need to have some control. You know, you need to have some force behind this thing,
The
just in
whole-
case they don't want to cooperate.
As I remember, the whole noxious weed issue popped up years ago. And,
It did.
And keeps bubbling up.
Well, Bill Dunn says, I feel that everybody has their own property and they should do with it as they would like.
Oh.
And there are people out there that think this way too. You know, freedom of, you know,
Well,
you like my grass, you better like me.
Does that go along with the old freedom of speech, life, liberty, and the pursuit of weeds?
Well, I think what it goes along with is the fact that, you know, I have these high weeds. So you don't like it, huh? You're going to have to put up with it because they're my weeds. They're not yours.
You
And
have,
I choose to grow my weeds.
you have hedges, I have weeds.
Right. So what we need maybe is a ordinance that says, well, if you have high weeds and your house falls apart, starting to come apart, and you got little critters that are running in and out, whatever they are, and I can't sell my home now, the loss in value of the home is $50,000 because you have weeds and critters, they need to send you a bill. Right?
Right. Well, I know, for instance, in Pontiac, I think I knew a guy that was the actual weed enforcer.
Oh, weed enforcer.
Yeah. And if
Come in with a blowtorch?
and if people didn't cut their weeds, the city would come in, cut them, and next tax bill that they got would have that added to it.
Actually, you know, the village of Oxford does that.
Does it?
It does.
Okay.
It has an ordinance in place. And Lake Orion, too, the village of Lake Orion, they have one in place. So,
But not the townships.
yeah, I think it's a valid argument, you know, that Jack Curtis has and Joe Ferrari, that people need to appreciate
Yeah.
their neighbors and
Well, and that's the key word, is neighbors. This issue causes problems when there is proximity to other residences.
right.
If you're out in the country and you've got 50 acres, well, do
Well,
what you want.
Like Jack Curtis said, you know, I think that, you know, if you're in a subdivision, that kind of thing, you need certain regulations, controls, and just in case the neighbor doesn't want to talk to you, you have some law and some meat behind it to
Right.
clean it up.
Right.
However, he doesn't feel that's the case, obviously, out in the township area where you've got multiple acreage.
Right, but once again, that whole concept of proximity to other houses, whether they're in a subdivision or not, affecting the relative real estate value of those houses, then it becomes an issue and it needs some close definition.
Yeah, and I agree. I think the freedom ends, you know, when it starts hurting, you know, your neighbor.
Right,
So we can agree on that, can we?
sure.
All
Not that
right.
we agree on anything.
Well, folks out there weren't going to know that until you
No.
told them. Now they know. Okay, so the noxious weed thing, looks like that's going to go before the Planning Commission, and chances are there will be something instituted. There will probably be a public hearing about it, you know, so people will come in and voice their opinion, either positive or negative. We'll see what happens. The next
Enough people show up, that kind of helps define the problem,
it does. Yeah.
because they all come from different situations.
Well, you know, we on the village council, we love it when people show up because we get a full survey of what their thought is, you know, and what direction we should go. If everybody shows up and there's 300 people show up and they say, we don't like noxious weeds, get rid of the weeds. Well, guess which side of the council is going to go on, or the trustees or whatever, more than likely. If they're smart, they'll
If
do
you can
that.
get a crowd of 100 people that all say the same thing, you're very lucky.
Yeah, there are always one or two, but you know, sometimes one group will shout down the other. No, actually, you can't
Yeah.
shout during these meetings.
No, but there's
you provide
differences
your
of
input.
opinion.
There is, just like you and I. No, we actually agree quite a bit on things.
Yeah.
We do. It's amazing.
We dance
Anyway,
around it a little bit, but we
well,
do it.
mostly you're the dancer. but,
Hey,
They did talk about the financial situation and where the township is at. And actually, they're pretty stable.
good.
They have money. Although they have been losing some money, they need to keep an eye on, which they are keeping an eye
Losing
on.
or spending?
They're losing.
Losing revenue or losing or
Well,
increasing costs?
Tax revenue has gone down or decreased to the point that a 2-year period they've lost about $30,000 in tax revenue.
Really?
Actually,
Even as
Yeah.
more people are coming into the township?
exactly. But here's the good news. The auditing firm said the good news is this: that you have geared yourself to development in the township, bring in new business, allowing subdivisions. The one-stop program is working for you. So that is the what
Light
they call the
at the end?
rainbow at the end of the
The light at the end of
Storm.
the tunnel.
right. Oh, however you want to say it. That's a train coming, by the way.
Oh, I see.
Oh, no, actually, they have pretty good control of it. 2013 revenues exceeded their expenditures by the amount of $660,000. So that's a pretty good position to be
Good.
in.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, more, as the Germans would
Good
say.
financial controls.
Yeah, more Germans would say, more Gesins, less Gesouts. Works out pretty good. So that's what they have. So it looks like the township is watching the money. You
Good.
folks should sleep good over that one. I think the next issue that we're going to talk about is what is going on with the Pollyant Trail.
Pollyant Trail. We
Pollyant
haven't
Trail.
talked about them in a while.
No? And you know what? We'll be talking about them when we come back, right after this. We are chit-chat.
Chit-chat.
Welcome back to Man's 5 Minute. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Dave Kinney.
And what did you say?
What?
Yeah. We're going to, actually the Pollyant Trail meeting, which they had on...
He gives me a tidbit of information and I'm going, what?
This is so much fun working with him, I got to tell you. Mike McDonald is the chairperson, and the meeting was on July 16th. And it was a rather quick meeting, wasn't a lot going on.
The day I came back from Disney World.
Yes, you did. How'd
Yes.
that work?
It was
How's
wonderful. I was exhausted. I
Oh.
need more rest.
That Mickey Mouse place worked pretty well, huh?
Mickey Mouse, Minnie Mouse,
Mickey
Pluto,
Mouse.
Mickey Mouse. It was a wonderful vacation.
Yeah, we could only sober him up, folks. We'd be all set. Mickey Mouse, okay.
Combined with a national karate tournament. So,
Oh, were you in it?
no, thank God. I think I'd be sitting here if I was.
I'd probably pay to see that one, folks.
I'd pay to get out of it.
No, he actually has some kids that really are very, very good at karate.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, you know, he has to mind his P's and Q's. The kids pretty much tell him what to do.
I live with a family of black belts.
Yeah, real ones. Anyhow, the financial issue was the first thing that came up, you know, at the Pollyant Trail. Everybody's concerned with the money. Their starting balance was somewhere around $80,000, so they're not real flush with a lot of cash out there. Their closing was $78,000, so they've gone down a little bit.
What's the
And
main source of their revenue?
main source of the revenue? Donations, a lot of donations.
State grants?
State grants when they write them. They got a new trail manager. His name is Pat Ball, and that's part of his responsibility is you know, bringing in grant money.
Right.
Of course, everybody out there is looking for grant money, and there's only so much to go around. Everybody's, you know, trying to get it. So a lot of competition.
I know the state has been tightening up their grant money, especially as regards the problems that NODA's been having.
Yes. What kind of
So-
problems is NODA having?
Well, the state restricted some of their money, and they've been actually going after the townships and villages to relieve they're going after a millage, and they also have a vote to relieve them from what's called a TIF tax by the downtown development authorities. That would increase their revenue somewhat.
Now, the DDA has indicated they don't want to let that money go because, of course, the local downtown development authority is trying to recover from their own financial issues.
I know.
So I don't know if that's going to happen. But again, folks, that will be on the ballot in November 1st.
November or August?
No, in November, I think that one is.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, back to the Pollyant Trail.
Pollyant Trail, yep. Okay, so they end up with a balance of roughly $77,000 in their cookie jar.
Okay.
So it's not too bad. The trail manager's report, he said Inbridge, where they're crossing the Pollyant Trail, he said one day, he said it's clear passing, people have no trouble traveling the Pollyant. Next day, they got big equipment there. He said, so it makes it a little more difficult. You never know what day it's going to be. So, but he said it's coming along pretty good, and he said the Enbridge Corporation has been working well with him. Whenever there's any kind of a small issue, he brings it up or talks to him, and it's taken care of.
Yeah, and not only that, there's another company called Frontier who's proposing to lay a gas line that's even bigger than Enbridge's oil line, and it's going to follow roughly paralleling the path that Enbridge has laid down.
Yeah, part of it will, but not. That hasn't been determined yet.
No, they're still
under the
negotiating with various governments and what have you about putting this thing in. Enbridge had easement privileges, whereas this company does not.
Right, and there was a gentleman that was fighting having this company come across his property because he already has 2 easements running across already for a pipeline.
Wow.
But they now contacted him and said they have no interest in running across his property. Okay. So that's good news for him. They talked about the bridge that crosses 24. They want to put a sign on it, as you know, and so that's still under
Who wants to
negotiation
put a sign
with
on
MDOT. The Pollyant Management Council. They want to put a sign labeling Pollyant Bridge, what it is. Across 24, you know, the one downtown?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody else wants to put a sign on that bridge.
Yeah, but this one would be, you know, a community label as to what it is.
Well, I mean, is it going to be kind of like off to the side so other people can put big signs up on it? Or
No.
is it going to be a big sign dead center?
Yes.
Okie dokie then.
That's a story we'll have to cover down the line here, folks, and see how that works out for them. But there's different types of signs they can put up there, but it's still being negotiated.
But theirs would be permanent.
Theirs would be permanent. It's going over, as permanent can be.
Okay.
Well, you know that bridge is under the control of MDOT.
DNR.
MDOT controls everything
DNR.
on the highway. MDOT.
DNR.
MDOT.
See, we agree on everything.
I know because I just attended the meeting here. So anyway, they want to get
Okay,
the
pull
approval.
that card on me.
So they have to go to MDOT here and get their approval first as to what they're going to do on this thing.
However, the trail is actually part of DNR.
The trail is DNR part of it. Yes, and they
The
have
bridge
to get
is not part of the
approvals
trail?
No, it's part of the highway system, or supposedly. You can't run over a highway, U.S. highway. You know, you have to get the permission of MDOT to do anything with a highway. Okay, it's their bridge, in other words. They say you can build it, but it's going to be ours. We're going to tell you what you can do, how high it's got to go.
You can walk if you want to.
Yeah, something like that. Anyway, so anyway, the trail manager says, "Oh, by the way, there's potholes." They said, "Potholes? Where?" He said, "Alongside the bridge, where
On the pavement?
No, well, where it comes together on the bottom, it's got a high wall on, I guess, the north.
Is that potholes
west
in
side.
cement or potholes in asphalt?
No, it's potholes, and there's a fill there on the northwest side of the bridge that comes up to the abutment, and that apparently is washing out or having a certain amount of the soil disappearing.
Okay.
Can you say
Erosion?
Yeah, that's what it is. So anyway, Pat says, "Well, I've got a credit card, something I don't have." But he says, "I got a credit card." He says, "And he said I can order some dirt." They said, "No, don't order any dirt. We got lots of dirt." He said, "We'll send dirt down there and we'll fill it in if we have to." And then they said, "Well, have we got to go through MDOT?" "Yeah, we probably do." So anyway, so they had that discussion. It was tabled
Well,
as far
why
as
don't they call MDOT and have them repair it? It's their bridge.
Yeah, let me know how that works out, folks. What's coming up?
Well, we do have some meetings coming up. On 7/23 at 6:30, the Oxford School Board will be meeting at the district office in downtown Oxford. And on 7/24 at 7 p.m., the Oxford Township Planning Commission will be meeting at the Vets Hall. And on 7/28, our parent organization, the OACCC, the Oxford Area Cable Communications Commission, will be meeting at the Vets Hall at 4 p.m. in the afternoon.
All I can say is hi-oh silver, and that parade and party begins on August 2nd, huh?
Hi-yo, silver. And if you were at the last one last year, this one will be a bang-up too.
It is going to be a ball. Don't miss it. August 2nd, it begins at 10 a.m. The parade is at noon. Be there. We will be too.
Put your white hat on.
Yep.
The banners, you guys got.
I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Dave Kenny.
We'll catch you next time on Minutes by Minute.
Bye-bye.
At Oakland County Parks and Recreation, we value what you value: family relationships, community connections, good health, environmental stewardship, and economic stability. Oakland County residents and businesses have invested in preserving nearly 7,000 acres of parkland. Since 1966, 13 parks and golf courses have been acquired, maintained, and improved. Oakland County parks and facilities are made possible by millage funds supported by Oakland County residents. For a home valued at $200,000, the homeowner pays less than $25 per year to support the Oakland County parks. With every generation, families create lifelong memories at Oakland County's award-winning parks. From exciting summer escapades and stories around the campfire to brisk fall walks on wooded trails and snowy winter outings, the outdoors beckons year-round. It's time to get up, get out, and get going at the Oakland County parks. Active recreation options abound. Cross-country ski or mountain bike on tree-lined trails. Scale the rock climbing wall. Get your kicks with soccer at several sports fields. Row or paddle a boat on 4 picturesque inland lakes. It's an easy journey. Most parks are just a short drive away. A quick tip: all our parks and golf courses end in Oaks. To find your favorite, just go to destinationoakland.com. Click to pick Oceans of Motion water parks at Red Oaks and Waterford Oaks, the Wint Nature Center at Independence Oaks, Teen Adventures, and even entertainment to go. When outdoor adventures on your list, there's fishing, beaches, boating, playgrounds, and seasonal hunting. The campgrounds at Addison Oaks and Groveland Oaks feel like being up north with plenty of recreation options. Want to get fit? Hit the trails. Oakland County Parks boasts more than 68 miles for strolling, walking, hiking and running, biking, or horseback riding. If the links are your lure, 5 golf courses, including Premier Course Lion Oaks, are conveniently located. Make Glen Oaks or White Lake Oaks your home course. Get an up-north feel at Springfield Oaks, or play a quick 9 at Red Oaks. Our recreation lineup rocks. Learn to swim. Experience an outdoor adventures camp. Take the fast track at BMX, or gain new lifelong skills. Everyone's included. Individuals with disabilities participate in dozens of adaptive opportunities, including a new fully accessible playscape, modified golf carts, and annual events.
You're watching OCTV, Oxford Community Television, serving Oxford, Addison Township, and the Village of Leonard.